My name's Erin. Most of you know me. I'm the Fedora community manager or community, excuse me, I'm the Fedora program manager. You'll have to bear with me. I am just getting over being sick. But I'm happy to be here today to share a brief Fedora community update. So this is a little snapshot of the Fedora community today as it stands. We have roughly 300 known installations of Fedora around the world. But one of the things that we are trying to do is try to get a more accurate picture of that number. So there's a QR code on the bottom of the slide here, and we would love to encourage people to go there and register your instance of Fedora so that we can have a more up-to-date record of where our users are and what versions they're using. So being open source, obviously, this is the only way we can most accurately track where our community is. Much like the Samvera community, the majority of our development efforts are done by our wonderful team of committers and contributors. So we meet regularly to discuss current work, talk about open issues, and address any of the community support requests that we are working on. Over the last year or more, we have also been very intentionally looking to create more ways to contribute to the Fedora, both the code base and the community as a whole. So, we want to welcome contributions of all kinds, and that means both technical and non-technical. So we've been doing some really active work there. And this is just a really quick snapshot of the technology in its most current version releases. I will talk about some exciting news about that in just a minute, but that is what the most recent releases look like for both the Fedora core and some of the associated tools. And then we obviously have our Fedora Docker image that is with the most current version. So this is the Fedora program team. You probably have either seen our names or recognize our faces, but Dan and myself are the paid program team for Fedora. We're responsible for maintaining program operations, communications, and pretty much everything to do with making sure that the community, the development work, and everything that goes along with it is running smoothly. And so we do have Lyricus is our organizational home. And with that, we have the support of Bridget Almus, who is the Director of Operations for the Community Supported Technologies and Hosting Services Division at Lyricus. So you may see Bridget pop in and out of some meetings. She is a really great liaison between all of the programs at Lyricus and Fedora, certainly. And Dan and I are supported by our active committer and technical teams, of whom are listed here. So some familiar names I can imagine. And then, of course, we're always looking to expand this list. But, we were looking for anybody that's willing to make contributions or has some engagement with the community. As I talked about, there is lots of opportunities to get involved, and it doesn't just have to be necessarily code contributions. This is how the Fedora community is structured. Obviously the users and the community is at the heart of everything that we do. The priorities and strategic direction of the program are set and kind of followed through by the Fedora governance group, who work collaboratively with the program team, so myself, and they work to ensure that program priorities are being met, and they act in the best interest of our users at large, so the community essentially. Governance group members are elected from organizations and institutions who participate in our Fedora membership program, as well as community representatives from non-member institutions, in order to give equitable opportunities for being part of the decision-making group. And that's really important to us. So we're able to draw on the expertise and resources of Lyricus as our org home, but all of the actions and priorities are determined by the program team, the community, and realized through our technical teams. So just briefly, a quick note about governance here. They are responsible for the strategic leadership of the program, like I mentioned. Participation in governance provides an opportunity to be part of that decision-making process. They contribute to input on financial spending and overall program direction. So governance is a collaborative group of representatives from using institutions who are invested and engaged in the overall operation of Fedora as a community and as a program. And right now is actually a really interesting time to be part of governance, or to consider being part of governance for next year, because we are in a very nice place of stability with adoption rates climbing. We have the opportunity right now to focus on some really critical elements related to future sustainability and kind of what Fedora is going to be focused on for the next few years. And just some fun, interesting facts about the Fedora community today. So I mentioned that renewed energy and sense of enthusiasm for Fedora. And this has given us a really interesting opportunity to be able to learn from new users, work closely with them as they navigate their different situations, whether that's migrations or new deployments, troubleshooting, all of this is really important information and really exciting for us to be able to work with these users. And it's good to see people coming into the community. So new people showing up at tech meetings, new voices in Slack, and the community is kind of really rallying around this renewed energy. I also mentioned increasing adoption rates. So we have well over, we're probably pushing 40 plus, 45 plus institutions that we know of on the latest version of Fedora, which is Fedora 6 or higher, or in active migration. So this is really encouraging to see as we consider how to support our users in the future. And over the last 2 years, we've been really focused on increasing international representation. So we've been fortunate to welcome 3 new members to our membership program, almost all of them coming from outside of North America, which then in turn means that we've been able to welcome 2 new members to our Fedora governance group, again, from outside of North America, increasing our representation up to, in and around 28% of our governance group is comprised of international individuals. And that's up almost 15% from when I started in my role, 3.5, 4 years ago. So that's really positive signs that all of our, intentional investment in engagement is working. And these are just some brief highlights of things that we've accomplished in the last calendar year. I mean, this can use an update because we're coming to the end of the year now. We've done a lot this year as well, but we did launch a new website last June. We were super fortunate to be able to host numerous in-person engagement activities. So we are in the process of organizing our 3rd virtual Fedora showcase, which is coming up. We had our 2nd in-person user group meeting held in conjunction with open repositories. So the last one being in Chicago in June. And then one of our kind of highlights was our first in-person Fedora camp since pre-pandemic times. So this was 30 individuals registered and attended 3 days of in-person workshops, learning, presentations at the University of Vienna in Austria. And we're super grateful that the university has extended the offer to host again next year. So we are already in the process of planning for Fedora Camp 2026 in Austria, which is very exciting. We also held several virtual workshops this year, which was great. And we were able to successfully complete a full documentation review project of all of our Fedora 6 documentation. So really exciting. And this is what we're working on now. So I'm sure that you've seen it or heard about it, but the release of Fedora 7 is just around the corner. So this is the first major version release of the software since 2021, and we're extremely excited about it. So we kicked off the work with a full-scale dependency upgrade project that involved touching and upgrading over 40 outdated dependency libraries within Fedora, within the core Fedora code base. We also increased unit and integration test coverage up to and above 80% across the whole code base. And so now we're just working on some of the final hanging features and some tuning that we want to do before we are looking to cut an alpha in the next few weeks. This is a rough release timeline that we're working through right now. So from now until we're hoping by first week or 2 of November that we'll be able to release the alpha for testing. Like I said, we're just wrapping up those last few pieces from November to the year end. If all goes well, then we would be looking to push a public beta release and start some community testing. And then our aim is to have Fedora 7 in everybody's hands by early 2026. So it's coming and it's faster than we had anticipated when we started down this path. So very exciting. And the first question is, what does that mean for you? So the best part about this whole thing is that if you're already on Fedora 6, the best news is that there's no migration required. You're simply just going to download the latest release, replace the POM file, and then stand up your new Fedora on the upgraded version. So there's no data reconfiguration or anything required. It's just going to be an in-place update. If you are not on Fedora 6 yet, though, all of the previous developed tooling and documentation will still work and still apply to bring you to Fedora 7. So no changes required there either. So this is kind of best news scenario for a new major version release for all of us. So we're all really excited about this. And for us, we're really just looking forward to getting that more modernized, more secure version of Fedora in everybody's hands. And then I think I mentioned just before, so there is the virtual Fedora showcase, which is coming up just before American Thanksgiving in November. So this is a free online event, very similar to, the Samvera Virtual Connect. It's 3 half days of gathering to share updates, share work, and, do some collaboration and engagement with your fellow community members. So it is open to everybody, even those that maybe aren't using Fedora, but are Fedora curious. There's lots of learning to be had through the showcase event. We're also looking to plan and host more workshops in 2026 after the success of the ones we held last year. We really want to expand on that and make more available to our community. And then we're going to be looking toward having conversations about where we go after Fedora 7. So how we, what we do from there. And then obviously just a quick note that much like Samvera, Fedora is an open source community, and we are funded entirely by membership donations from institutions who use the software. And so that is the best way to support the sustainability of the program. And so happy to answer any questions on membership if you are interested, but all contributions are certainly welcome. Some resources, I'll upload the slides, so you'll have access to all these links, but that is all I have for you today.